Yeah, for sure. So main event, Cory Sandhagen, T.J. Dillashaw. I mean, what a fantastic fight, man. For anyone that's a fan of fights, you just want to see a good fight, go watch this fight. It was fantastic, fantastic. Odds on it were at close minus 195 for Cory Sandhagen and plus 165 for T.J. Dillashaw. It actually opened up with Sandhagen being a minus 155, so a lot of people had like confidence on him, and it looks like that right before the fight, some late money came in on Dillashaw because Sandhagen got all the way up to minus 210. So just good to know, sharps almost never miss. It's crazy when you go follow betting lines and stuff like that. Certain people on the inside know something, and I don't know how they do it, but they do it, and it's impressive. Uh, so with this fight as well, these dudes have been training partners before. And apparently, when Sandhagen was younger, they used to bring him in as a dude to do rounds with Dillashaw, and apparently he would like give Dillashaw some work in those rounds. So for me, like this was one where I thought, well, Sandhagen can only have gotten better because he's so young. Dillashaw's been off for 2 years, so like let's see if there's any rust on him. And as it turns out, I mean, we got a banger of a fight out of all of it. I just gave the whole backstory to Dillashaw and Sandhagen, like having trained together and all that stuff about it.
Oh yeah, the training
Uh,
together, the 2 years off, the EPO. There were storylines for days, and those storylines I think did heavily influence how we felt coming into this fight. At least I won't speak for you, but I know me. I mean, I know 2 years off. I know no EPO. I know how damn dangerous Sandhagen is. We both really liked Sandhagen coming into this fight. And yeah, I don't. Did you already introduce the odds and all that? Or,
yeah, yeah,
all
yeah,
right,
yeah.
so yeah, everything's set up. We have Sandhagen picked. He was number two, Dillashaw former champ, essentially number one contenders match. All the marbles on the line, and especially I think also one quick note of context is weird about because as the bantamweight division right now all has they have, especially in such a deep division, it has a champ which a lot of people view as illegitimate, and
Yeah,
so like you can make the argument that while neither this fight wasn't for a belt, that maybe both of these guys are better than the two guys fighting for the belt. Like that argument could be made that this was the real title fight.
absolutely,
Like
absolutely. And what's so great about it, man, is like we'll obviously go round by round. What a fight! I mean, how close was this fight?
oh yeah, it was a great fight. It was way closer than I thought it was going to be. And while we will do some complaining here, short enough, I did enjoy the fight. I did.
Oh
Bell
yeah,
to bell, I really enjoyed it. It was way closer than I thought it would be. Each guy was able to do things that I didn't think they were going to really be able to do against each other.
TJ didn't have any ring rust. Sandhagen's striking and movement was better than TJ's. I was like, what is happening in this fight?
Sandhagen's ability to get up when taken down,
Right, and just literally turns back and get back up,
get up like
or
almost every time. I mean, just
or
like
like
pretty
Granby through
quickly.
the. Yeah, it was impressive. I mean,
Super.
Dillashaw.
I think a lot of people figured if Dillashaw was able to get Sandhagen down, that he'd probably keep him down, and that
Right,
was not the case at all. I think that was win loss. We're gonna get into all that scoring rounds. We're gonna get into all that. But as far as like what shocked you, like what didn't happen the way you thought it was going to happen. And I know Sandhagen has it. Like I thought Dillashaw was going to be able to hold Sandhagen down more
round
effectively.
one he kind of was able to.
Yeah, yeah, which was even more impressive whenever Sandhagen made the adjustments later on and was able. Like I said, there were so many times where Sandhagen was able to get back up to his feet super effectively. Not every time, but like way more than I would have thought. I mean, TJ's wrestling is well respected. I mean, I think a lot of people thought that was his path to victory over a tall, rangy striker. Uh, and
So
yeah, let's dive in, baby.
yeah, so the first round, I mean, it starts out with like super intense, like striking battle. They're both trading. It's a good round. Dillashaw's obviously starts getting in, pushing in on the takedowns, the clinch, the cage control, gets a takedown in the first, and Sandhagen, like his defense in the position was really interesting because the way they got to the ground was through Sandhagen getting him in a like a reverse triangle choke with his legs, if I'm not mistaken,
Yeah.
right?
Well, so
So
like TJ tried to do this like a big slam, and to my knowledge, to my remember how I recollect it happening was TJ tried to like do this big lift slam where he almost got Sandhagen like upside down, and then Sandhagen was able to wrap his like legs around his head as
He
like a
was so
decoy.
long that he like went over the
Yeah,
top almost, and like yeah,
yeah.
and then like snared his head with his legs, and that was tight too. Like you could tell TJ
Oh,
stopped what he was doing. Was like, I gotta like get out of this position immediately.
I was low key. I was like, if Sandhagen gets this crazy
Upside,
sub
yeah, an
right here,
upside down
upside down
triangle choke
triangle, I was
after
like, yeah.
like a spinning head, spinning back heel kick or
Wheel
whatever to knock
kick,
out Moraes,
and
the
then the
flying
flying
knee
knee.
on.
Especially if he gets this, he's a fucking god.
Yeah, he's a
Uh,
legend.
yeah,
But Dillashaw ends up escaping it, gets on top, and that's where they're in this probably the best position for TJ of the whole fight,
of
in
the
my
whole
opinion.
fight, Yeah, round one, I had a 10-9 Dillashaw.
Me too.
He ended that whole scramble scenario on top and was able to actually land some pretty hard ground and pound. Like actually, the ground and pound he landed in the first round, whenever he was just going like this, it reminded me of how he finished Garbrandt. And
Yeah,
Garbrandt was obviously already wobbled. It's a different,
right.
but there was some good quality ground and pound. The exact same technique that was used to finish Garbrandt. I gotta admit, got a little nervous. I was like, I mean,
Me
I've seen
too.
those shots finish people. Like I've
But
seen it. Like it can happen.
super interesting because I was texting you during that fight, right? And I had texted you about his leg popping at the end because Sandhagen that whole time the reason he's eating shots because he's working for a knee bar
Yeah.
or a leg lock, and T.J. Dillashaw falls backwards at the end of the round before the round ended. And when I saw that, I was like, oh, that's his knee is messed up. You don't just fall backwards when you're punching the fuck out of someone. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, and see, this is where it's hard to separate fact from fiction, and fighters say weird things after fights. TJ said that he had a torn MCL coming into this fight, but it's like,
Hmm.
is he pulling a McGregor? Like, what's going on here? It's so hard. Like, whenever I hear shit like that, I legit never know, like, really, like, how to take it or how to feel about it,
I almost
or
take no
what to
stake
think
in it.
about it.
It's one of those
Yeah,
things where, but in this post fight, immediately when he was talking to DC, I mean, they interviewed both of them, so it's not to give away who won. But
yeah.
when he was talking to DC, he did acknowledge, like, yeah, my knee popped at that point, and it changed the way I fought the next 4 rounds.
Yeah, and so we both have T.J. Dillashaw winning round one, and we both agree that was his best round of the entire fight. And I also want to say, too, that I feel like the story isn't necessarily being told this way. Cory Sandhagen still did some good things in round one. Like, I
Yeah,
round one is a close round. Like,
right.
round one was a close round, and it was T.J. Dillashaw's best round. I want to establish that precedent. At least that's how I viewed the fight through my lens.
Yeah, I would agree 100% that it was like a close round. The Dillashaw definitely ended up being on top in, but like Sandhagen was doing good things. His movement was really nice. His head movement was great. I mean, honestly, it looked like classic Cory Sandhagen that we've been seeing in his last few fights.
It did. It really did. Like I said, I think TJ did enough to win the round. I think it was probably like one of the least controversial rounds. Like I think almost everybody had TJ winning round one. I think I was a little shocked by that. Like I thought Sandhagen was definitely going to. I thought if TJ was going to win the fight, it was going to be Sandhagen winning 1 and 2, TJ surviving, and then out cardioing him in 3, 4, 5.
Right.
I did not see a scenario in which TJ won round one. So I was already, as somebody who predicted with much confidence for Sandhagen, that old butthole was already tightening up for me. But I knew we had a close fight on our hands, closer than I anticipated after round one for sure. And I think Sandhagen knew that. And Sandhagen came out in round two like he knew that, and he fought so good in round two.
Round two was
Dillashaw's ass.
he was like he was flow state round two.
Flow.
For sure.
What
For sure.
Sandhagen embodies flow, right? Like Sandhagen, when you think of flow striking, like I think my brain literally thinks of Sandhagen.
Dude, he landed that huge right hand that cut open Dillashaw's eye. That cut was massive, right over the top of his eye, just pouring blood into his face.
And that's another one where Dillashaw, after the fight, was like, "Oh yeah, same cut I had in training." That was an old cut.
Yeah,
That's why this fight got rescheduled. This fight was supposed to take place like a month ago. This fight got rescheduled because of a cut to T.J. Dillashaw. So I'm not saying he's full of shit, but I'm just saying like everything that happened in the fight, he just like, "Oh yeah, that was already."
It was like he couldn't stand to give Cory Sandhagen real credit.
Yeah, man, and I wasn't. But I mean, if he's right, he's right. Like
True.
The fight did get postponed due to a cut. So like, I don't know. Interesting. But that cut was deep. It was gnarly. Herb Dean had to call in a doctor. And I'll be real, the fact that it was Herb Dean, a.k.a. Early Stoppage McGee, I was like, oh, fuck, we're going to get robbed of another main event thanks to Herb Dean. Fucking awesome. Regularly scheduled programming, Herb. But thankfully, the doctor said he could keep going. TJ said he could keep going. Herb didn't actually, thankfully, have much of a say to it because I think Herb did want to stop it. But thankfully, he called in the doctor. And yeah, I had a 19-19 going into 3. I believe you did as well.
Oh, for sure. And I thought that like Sandhagen's round 2 was better than Dillashaw's round 1. If that, it doesn't matter obviously for scoring, but like if I was just saying scoring the fight like by 1 FC standards, I would have had Sandhagen ahead at that point after 2 rounds.
Yeah, definitely due to that damage. 100%.
Right. Like the amount of damage.
It was bad. It was meaningful.
Well, like let's not forget, Dillashaw's knee was pretty much done after that. He didn't shoot a takedown the second round. It was effective. Like he lost his ability to get takedowns from his knee getting popped.
True. And so round 3, I definitely want to take some time on round 3 because round 3 essentially seems to be the crux of this whole thing where real judges disagree, where fans disagree, where like I don't think we'll disagree, but maybe. Round 3 seemed to be the most controversial, hard to score round of the fight. However, I didn't find it that hard to score. Like, we both do that whenever a round's super hard to score. We'll write close or we'll write banger or we'll write – I have no such thing in my notes. It is the classic example of damage versus, like, control, right? Like, that's like
right.
It's almost like a philosophical debate, which we alluded to at the start of the podcast. Damage versus control, right? Because, like, in round 3 – this is what essentially can't be debated. What can be debated is how you value these two things. But what happened in round 2 is Sandhagen inflicted much more damage and had the most impactful strikes. But what also happened is TJ had multiple minutes of control time, took the back a couple of times.
But he wouldn't do anything with his back.
Do anything with it. Yes, sir. 100%. No damage, not even any sub-attempts. Just literally took his back and rubbed his balls on his butthole. Like, literally, like, just took the – but I got to say, man, this is where it gets – I'll play devil's advocate with myself. Like, taking somebody's back is a very, very dominant position. And I wish I would have wrote down how many times it happened. But and maybe it's exaggerated in my memory. But I feel like Dillashaw was taking Sandhagen's back at least twice around. Granted, though, with the gigantic caveat that he didn't do jack shit with it. Huge distinction. Makes it dicey to score. We both had – I had round 3, 10-9 Sandhagen. How about you? I won't speak for you.
Man, I actually had round 3 to Dillashaw.
You did? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. See, that's fair. No. Was it just the control? Like, was it the control?
Yeah, it was the fact that Sandhagen couldn't get damage off from that position. And so essentially it was like when they were squared up, I didn't think it was like that much more that Sandhagen was doing, right? So anytime that they did get into a clinch, it was like, all right, well, this is Dillashaw's like winning the fight right now in this position.
See,
so
maybe it was because the eye was already damaged. I thought whenever Dillashaw would hit Sandhagen, it like wouldn't really face Sandhagen that much. And I thought even in round 3 when Sandhagen was landing, like I said, probably because the face was already damaged, but TJ was not having fun.
No, he did land some really nice leg kicks in round 3 as well, though.
He did. Some heavy ones.
Round 3 was close.
Round. It was
all
a close
3,
round.
4, and 5 are all super close.
That's interesting because have you looked at the scorecards for this fight?
I see him. I'm looking at him right now.
So you see on those round 3 is what swung it.
No, every single judge scored round 3, 10-9 to Dillashaw. They had every single judge through 3 rounds had it lockstep, same scores.
Really? Okay, so
yeah.
It was 2 rounds to Dillashaw, 1 round to Sandhagen.
Mm-hmm. 4 and 5 get crazy though.
Oh, you know what it was though? It was on that verdict. On verdict.
Oh, okay.
Where kind of the general public on verdict had it for Sandhagen.
Which I don't hate that at all. Like I think it was a super close round, honestly.
It was a close round for sure. Not dying on any hills, 100%.
Round 4 was equally close, but I actually went to Sandhagen in that one. I thought he started to open up and do more damage and was in a good position again.
the spinning back fist did it for me, and
Yeah.
not for style points, not for style points. I want to make that clear. For effectiveness
He
and
like
damage,
wobbled the hell out of
yeah, it
Dillashaw.
was like the single most effective strike, the single most damaging moment of round 4. And in a close round, I will go to a moment like that.
Yeah, for sure. That's how I
For
felt about it too.
yes,
Like I
yeah,
almost identically felt that way. And actually, Derek Cleary and Saul D'Amato both scored it that way as well. 10-9. I assume you gave 10-9 Sandhagen round 4.
yeah. So
So
you and the judges had it, or you and Sal D'Amato had it tied up going into the 5th.
and Derek Cleary, yeah. So those two were the exact same through 4 rounds. The other judge, the third judge, Junichiro Kamijo, scored round 4 for Dillashaw.
See, my problem, and I don't know. This is just how I feel. This is probably feelings over facts right now. I feel like if you're giving Dillashaw any of those rounds, then you can give Dillashaw any of those rounds. I don't know if
That's
that makes
yeah, no,
any
it's a great
sense.
point. It's a great point. It's
Okay,
like, what did he do in that round to win that round so decisively that would be any different from the previous 3 rounds in which you scored 2 of which for, or you
because
scored 1 for Sandhagen out of that?
I view rounds 3 through 5 as very similar. Like
Yeah,
Sandhagen being more causing more damage, being the more effective striker. Dillashaw, like I said, and then I guess this is depends how you view this, but Dillashaw was getting that back multiple times around, but doing nothing with it.
at the
Um,
very end of round 4, that's when his coaches go, all right, let it go, and there were like 6 seconds left, and he like broke his lock and started like pounding Sandhagen's face right on the fence, and it was like, yeah, that's a good like. Glad you did that. Why haven't you done that for the previous 6 minutes you've been
yeah,
in this position? Right? It was
yeah.
almost like it didn't help me score it for him. But oddly enough, I guess for that one judge, Camijo, it was enough to swing her vote.
So, I mean, if my math is correct, you have round 5 for Dillashaw.
No, I have Sandhagen winning the fight.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah,
you have round 5% Hagen. Yeah, I mean, he ha- I feel like I can just copy and paste what I said last time. Like Sandhagen winning the striking exchanges, Dillashaw getting the back and doing dick with it.
okay, here's where it gets crazy, and this is why I'm like so upset with this decision, to be quite honest with you. Uh, the same judge that scored round 4 for Dillashaw scored round 5 for Sandhagen. How?
Almost identical rounds, right? Like
Like,
super
yeah,
similar.
right, like super similar. And in fact, in round 4, like I thought, like we said, the spinning back fist occurred. Like, was that not a bigger moment to
The
swing you? Like, what
biggest,
happened in round 5 that swung
maybe the
you?
biggest moment of the whole fight. If we're
Like,
talking
yeah,
about
or like
single
that, the flying
strikes,
knee or the right
yeah.
hand that opened the cut. Like those 3
And
moments are the
those are
biggest
all from
strikes.
Sandhagen,
I
man.
know it. Like the highlights are Sandhagen. But check this out, man. So Sally Amato scored round 4 for Sandhagen and then scored round 5 for Dillashaw. How does that work?
Yeah, man. That's why. And see, that's why I feel, and it's probably like arrogant. It's like a Peggy Hill statement, but like I value my like at least in my scorecard, I was consistent. I
Yeah.
didn't just flip flop of what I valued round to round, like because that's what I'm saying. Like if you valued TJ taking Sandhagen's back and doing nothing with it, then hell, you should have given 4 rounds to TJ.
Right.
That,
No, that's my point. Is
that's my
if
point.
that
And
was
then
your value, then it was going to be 49-46.
if you valued Sandhagen striking and
And
damage
damage.
and like impactful strikes, then you gave Sandhagen 4 rounds, which I did, which I understand is controversial. I don't think actually Kobe Daniels, I believe he's still watching right now. We were DMing. He also gave Sandhagen 4 rounds. Now we both admitted round 3 we're not like dying on the hill. Round 3 could go either way. Like round 3 was super close. Not mad at the people
But
that
I
gave
think it's for
TJ round
sure
3.
3 rounds to Sandhagen at least, right? Like
It's
it's at
yeah,
least 3.
it's at least 3. Like I cannot. Yeah, like I was shocked. Like actually, you know what? I wasn't shocked due to the shitty calls that have been made all night and like I don't know, man. I'm not gonna go tinfoil hat. I'm not, but I know how much the UFC wants Dillashaw to be relevant again. Like I know for a
Oh
fact
yeah.
that's a fact. Like do with that information what you will. You know what I mean? It's not pride. I'm not saying it's fixed. It's not a Japanese W as Chael Sonnen would say, but like it's I don't know, man. I like I said earlier, the previous robberies valued striking over grappling, essentially.
Right.
So it's like even like like it's inconsistent even by their own precedent. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like if they had been valuing grappling all night, then hey, TJ probably did win that. If you're grappling focused, like TJ won almost every grappling exchange, spent multiple minutes on the back. You know,
Right. Like,
but even on that argument, if you want to say the most impactful grappling moment was Sandhagen fucking TJ's knee up.
it's what.
As
Yeah.
far
That's what I was
like
gonna. That.
what
Yeah.
phase if we're talking about like jujitsu, striking, and then like clinch work, the only like one of those boxes you check for TJ is clinch. Like
Yeah. Right. And then furthermore than that, like I don't understand how he finishes 2 of 19 on his takedown attempts, and they're rewarding it. Like they're rewarding his getting to the back, but not being able to get a takedown.
yes, and then when he did get a takedown, Sandhagen, like I said, largely would pop right up.
Right.
Yeah, I,
And then
I
if
disagree. A lot
and
of people disagree. Like I said, that verdict app disagrees. Lots of people on Twitter disagree. Kobe Daniels disagrees. Like, what did Dillashaw do? Like, I mean, he took the back. If your answer is he took Sandhagen's back at will, then you know what? I'll throw up my hands and be like, not going to argue that. Does that win you a fight? Like when you get beat up, like when you're like at any moment, TJ, and maybe this is an oversimplification. Maybe this is my memory, like altering things. But like when I think back on this fight, TJ had his back, Sandhagen's back a lot. But in the time where when TJ wasn't on Sandhagen's back, he was in a lot of danger and a lot of trouble, and he was getting pieced
right,
up.
right, it's
Like
exactly how
that's
I
how this
found it.
fight went down.
Right, it's exactly like it was almost like Dillashaw found safety being behind Sandhagen, but it wasn't like he was doing. Now, what's weird is I say all that just to say that total strikes landed in this fight was 171 for Sandhagen and 169 for Dillashaw.
But those strikes are not created equal.
I know, well, but like even still, they have Sandhagen with 18 more landed and 13 more attempted significant strikes. So it's like, but the significance of some of those strikes was
Yes.
so
That's
significant.
with a guy like Sandhagen. Sandhagen's not a volume striker. Like that.
Well, it's,
Let's get at that. Let's get that out there.
but it's crazy
Sandhagen
because
is a.
he did throw 331 and TJ threw 332. So like,
Oh yeah, but I'm talking about like he's not a Holloway. He's a.
oh no.
No. He's not trying to just pepper you up. Like
Right.
Sandhagen, the strikes, man, they're super impactful. So, the flying knees, the spinning back fist, even just some of those long straights and some of those kicks. I mean,
Yeah. Dude,
yeah, man.
he clipped. Well, he put a hard 1-2
That,
on Dillashaw, and I think round 2.
the head kick, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
And he had the knee. Like, and now granted, Dillashaw's chin was impeccable. I think there was at least 3 shots last night where Sandhagen finishes some of these other guys,
for
probably
sure,
including Aljamain, maybe
for
even
sure.
including Piotr Jan. Like Dillashaw, I mean, he is something different. I mean, nobody's saying he's not. You know what I'm saying? Like, he is elite. Like,
Well, and I think the time he's taken off from fighting helps his chin. You know what I mean? Like he hasn't taken any damage in the last 2.5 years for the most part, so that helps him to be more viable whenever he comes to fight
and
now.
he's cutting to 35, not 25, more water, on the brain and all. I mean, I'm no scientist. They say, dehydrated brain gets knocked out easier.
Definitely true.
And yeah, for sure. And so, yeah, a lot of factors. Like, and as far as the whole like redemption narrative of T.J. Dillashaw, it's like, man, you don't like you did that to yourself. It's like to me, it's not like you overcame some obstacle. It's like that meme where the guy sticks the stick in his own bike tire and then flips over and
Yeah,
then blames somebody else. Like I'm not, you know what I mean? This isn't some inspiring narrative of a comeback like Sean Strickland, where you get in a motorcycle wreck and are out for 2 years. Like this ain't. I feel like the UFC is trying to market it as some like super wholesome, inspirational, pull yourself up by your bootstraps instead of being like, which I get it. I'm not saying they should go full Barry Bonds and slander his name for 20 years. Like I don't know if I'm buying like the happy-go-lucky turnaround story that they're kind of trying to sell me on T.J. Dillashaw.
Yeah, I don't buy it at all. I still look at TJ as a villain. He knowingly cheated. He acknowledged that he knowingly cheated. I mean, he said why, and at least he owns it, which I will give him credit for in that aspect. But like, I don't like any of this situation now, man, because like it's obvious Dillashaw's getting the winner of Aljamain and Piotr Jan, and then
Yep.
probably Sandhagen has to wait to fight the loser of that to see who's like the next title challenger, and it just
Well, so
sucks.
so Sandhagen post fight, he said he did. I think it was a pinky promise. I think it was if it was Sean Shelby or McMahon or one of the matchmakers. He said he was one win away from a title shot. So that implies he has to fight somebody else. Like even by Sandhagen's own, like he asked for it to be that way.
It's
Yeah,
probably Rob Font, right?
it has to be Rob Font. Only fight to make, right?
Right,
Only fight to make.
right.
Has to be.
It's the only thing
Now
you
I
can do.
thought I heard whispers that Rob Font was matched up with somebody, but if he is, they got to scrap that because especially the only other guy I would say would be Garbrandt, and Garbrandt is I'm pretty damn sure all indications are looking like he's going to go fight Brandon Moreno. That
Yeah,
and the only reason why I'm for that when I wasn't for it before is because Brandon Moreno actually wants that, and I want Brandon Moreno as the champ to
I
get the
like
fight that he wants.
I love Brandon Moreno, man.